What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and I have a quick update on the latest up in Winnipeg. We have some news on Blake Wheeler, the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, and some kind of unsettling news on the future of Pierre-Luc Dubois. We'll be going over that today. So, we're starting off with a report from Frank Saravelli. The Winnipeg Jets have begun to explore the possibility of moving captain Blake Wheeler. He may be willing to consider a trade. Now, before you guys put in the comments, because I know you guys are pretty on point with this, he does have a no movement clause, which, to be specific, is a modified no trade clause. So, at this point in his contract, so he signed a 5-year contract back in 2018 with the Winnipeg Jets. The first 3 years, it is a no movement clause, but for the final 2 years of his contract, which he is starting now, it is a modified no trade clause, which includes the player submits a 5-team trade list for this season and next season, the final 2 years of his contract. His total salary is actually it's a good contract if somebody were to pick him up. His base salary this season is 6.5, and next year it is his annual cap hit, which is 8.25 million. So, in terms of the contract, it is movable. It is only a 5-team trade list, though. So that's where things get very difficult. And if you're Blake Wheeler, do you throw the teams out there that don't have the cap space, right? Let's say put Colorado and Tampa on that list. Those two of your 5 teams right there. So you're not going to, so now you're down to 3 teams that you could maybe get traded to if they even want you. I think it's going to be very difficult. It would be after almost a perfect situation where the moon is in the right location and the wind's blowing the right way, and it's going to take a lot for a Blake Wheeler trade to happen, but that is something to watch for this offseason. Now let's get to the more concerning news, because this is something that has been a problem for the Winnipeg Jets as an organization. Now, I don't know if this is tied to the organization itself, but Pierre-Luc Dubois has been very adamant that he wants to test the free agency market in 2024. So this is the report here from Elliot Friedman. He said Pierre-Luc Dubois has reportedly told the Winnipeg Jets he plans to test the free agency market in 2024, like I mentioned. This is tough news for the Jets. And again, when you start to hear that, it's the Jets are not in a situation like, say, Colorado or Tampa, where they can afford to just let him go. Winnipeg is not that kind of team, and considering they gave up Patrick Laine, who was a 2nd overall pick, in order to acquire Dubois, who, funny enough, in that same draft was selected 3rd overall in that draft, it is kind of interesting to see the development of Dubois. Last year, he was a man on a mission. We saw him, I remember last summer, looking at pictures of him. He turned into a monster. He gained, I think, like 30 pounds of muscle. I mean, this guy is a beast. And he was determined last season. He had a great season for the Jets overall. He was motivated. And maybe it was his motivation to kind of raise his value to inevitably get traded. Again, you can never really tell the motives unless you're in the guy's head, but that does seem to be the mentality for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And obviously, the teams mentioned, it's no-brainers to anybody. The Montreal Canadiens are always going to be mentioned whenever there's a French Canadian. I know that fans up there do get frustrated by that. Just because he's a French Canadian, he's going to go there. It's not always the case, but again, that's what he's been linked to. Again, you could thank the media for that, as well as the Columbus Blue Jackets, which I thought was very interesting. And that is the team that drafted him from the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles, right? And that was the surprising pick, that they jumped to number 3 and took Dubois, who was supposed to go later in that top 10. So that reuniting of Columbus, I just don't think makes sense. And to be completely honest, Montreal makes sense, but what is Montreal going to give up? Do they want to be giving up prospects and draft picks right now? No. So what do you do there, right? So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens on that front. Maybe they catch a team that's trying to get a quick rebuild like Dallas or Nashville or even Washington for that matter. A team that has the assets and is willing to give up a first round pick. That's where a Dubois trade could potentially fall into that territory. So, yeah, like I said, not great news for the Jets. In that case, he's pretty much telling the Jets, I am testing the free agency market and I probably won't be re-signing. So, unlike many other players in recent history, they, give Dubois credit. He gave the team plenty of notice, more than 2 years away from his free agency period. And he has told the Jets, listen, long term, I am going to free agency. I want to see what I can get, my most value, in terms of the marketplace. I want to see what I'm worth and go from there. So, again, a little bit of uneasiness in Winnipeg right now because they have no leverage now. In terms of Dubois announcing this, teams are going to say, well, either you give us these, we'll give you a first round pick and this prospect, or you lose them for nothing in free agency. So you better take this. All the leverage just completely chopped out from the Winnipeg Jets. They probably can get something pretty good for him still. Again, 2 years away from that free agency tag. So if a team does pick him up, they do have 2 years of this guy. So like I said, the teams I just mentioned could be in the mix there. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think of these rumors around Pierre-Luc Dubois potentially on his way out of Winnipeg? It sounds more likely than not he will be testing the free agency market, and he was pretty clear about that. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.